TellTale Games was amazing. They had their own fresh take on how playing video games worked. I'm now okay. I'm not saying that they started the whole making choices in games, because they didn't, but they might as well have revived it. You can compare this actually to how Steve Jobs made phones sexy.
Right? He took everything that pre-existed and he made it sexier, and he made it prettier.
In retrospect, TellTale reminds me of Image Comics. For those of you that don't know what Image Comics is, it's an indie comic franchise that changed the mold of comics earlier on. With TellTale, they had a variety of games prior to The Walking Dead that brought them, I guess you could say, to a certain fame. But I want to focus on the adventure episodic games that we all know them well for. The episodic approach and choice making brought along some fresh air, and that's what is the one thing that matters the most when it comes to making a game slash a game that's have a new, maybe different, innovative take. Whether players were playing Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, or Batman, through The Walking Dead, we are provided interesting characters in the Walking Dead world. I'll follow through the main character Clementine, and yes, I'm saying Clementine. Yes, you play Lee in the first season, but it is more about Clementine. Through that game, you get to see the progression of her character, and you feel somewhat in tune with her and her adventure, and seeing how she came a long way from how she was in season 1 all the way to season 4. With The Wolf Among Us, we were given TellTale indie video game based off the comic Fables, which is a comic that I would actually like to take a look at. In this game, we get our fairy tale characters that we were all aware of, whether it's Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, the Ariel from The Mermaid, Big Bad Wolf. I love it all. The Huntsman. I mean, you think of it, you'll probably see them. Here we play the sheriff known as Big B Wolf, who is trying to uncover a murder mystery, and that is something that I would have never thought of together. You have the Big Bad Wolf as a sheriff, and he's trying to uncover a murder, let alone having the aid of Snow White from the 7th. Like, come on. Now, this game is definitely a favorite of mine that I always have a good time with, and I think it's very unfortunate that we'll never get that season 2, which is it just sucks. It just sucks, guys. Now, I didn't play all of TellTale Games, but the two that stood out the most for me, besides the ones that I've just named earlier on, Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead, but the ones that truly made me appreciate TellTale Games have had to be Game of Thrones and Batman. We have Game of Thrones that brings us a family of siblings that are doing the best they can to survive the world of Game of Thrones. And we all know, if you watch Game of Thrones, that is not an easy world to get through. And this all takes place after the Red Wedding, which is where, I guess you could say, shit hits the fan. You play a family known as House Forrester, and what captured my attention was the development and the small amount of background that we obtained with our main characters. Asher Forrester, to be exact, who's by far my favorite character. He kind of reminds me, now that I think back at it, his design actually reminds me how Outdoor looked in Thor Ragnarok, and I wonder if they actually based that design there. Looking back on the character, his rebellious, charismatic, and selfless, and his journey throughout playing his role within the game is just amazing. I really wish he was in here, and I would love to see more of him, but unfortunately we won't get that either. Next off, I want to talk about Batman, which was an interesting idea actually when it was first announced to me. And I know they have the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, so it's not the only comic game that they made, but I've never actually played the Guardians of the Galaxy, and maybe one day I will try and give it a gander. But the story takes us along with Bruce Wayne, as he's only been Batman for, I believe, maybe about a year, so that gives us a little bit more of our own Batman Begins story. Through the game, we see his rogue gallery of villains, and some before they become the icons that we know as today. And while yes, we know Harvey Dent will become Two-Face, Oswald Cobblepot will become Penguin, and that John Doe, well, he's the Joker. The thing that makes this fantastic and enjoyable is knowing that you play a role in these outcomes. You're the reason why some of these characters go the path that they decide. I'm not sure if this is spoiler, but I like the fact of possible choices that you make can cause Harvey Dent to become Two-Face. I like that. That's interesting. It makes you feel more source of a responsibility and what you did. And this is similar to how in the comics it is because of Batman that Joker was born. Despite the issues that were going on behind the scenes when it came to Telltales, I just want to show my appreciation for Telltale and what it has done for future of games, having inspired those such as Life is Strange. Maybe we may actually get more games that are just like this, that will go that route, and I really hope that we do. I think that these types of games are always fun time, and like I said, they didn't originate it, but they did help make these types of games sexy.